Hello, this is Dr. Martina, online sex therapist and sex educator. Our sexuality can confuse us. It's doing it to me right now, and I've studied human sexuality for a couple decades now. So I decided to put a little video together in case you feel the same way. In case you feel like, okay, what am I supposed to do with my sexuality? What do I want? Where do I want to go with it? What do I want to experience? What can I let go of? All these questions that you may have about the current state of your sexuality. Not what you've done, but the current state of it and where do you want to go. So I decided to put this little video together about the sexual timeline and how it can benefit and help you recognize your current sexual self. A sexual timeline is for your sexuality what a resume is for your professional self. I have been, through my studies in Switzerland, I was asked to do a sexual timeline of my life, and it was the best things I've ever done for myself. It is for everybody. It is for all genders. It's for every human being that wants to learn about who they are sexually, where they have been, and where they want to go, and what they want to experience. Not listening to, what you read and what you hear about, but, really figuring it out yourself about what is my sexuality to me. And a sexual timeline will help you do that. You take a big piece of paper. I don't recommend doing it on a computer because the screen is really, the screen's only this big, but your sexual life is like this long, especially if you've been on this earth for a couple decades, 3, 4, 5, or 6 decades. So take a piece of paper. I actually took 2 big pieces of paper, then I had to attach because I ran out of space. So get a lot of colors, do a line, and start with your birth, and then start just the date you're born, the time you're born, and that's where your life starts. That's where your sexuality starts, with your birth. Then write down if you remember anything when you were a little child, child's play, the first time you touched yourself, the first time you rubbed yourself against something and you thought it was kind of funny, the first time maybe somebody caught you doing that, or maybe you were able to be left alone with all of this. This is your sexual timeline, and it is important. All the things that you have experienced are important. The emotions that you have subsequently to your experiences, either because of influences of others, maybe there was some trauma in there. Right, you're the only one knows what happened throughout your sexual life, and you're the only one who gets to write this down. So take yourself through all the important sexual things that you remember, what you heard about sex at home, what you heard about sex from your best friend, what you felt about sex the first time you experienced a French kiss, what you felt about the first time you realized you couldn't orgasm, or you did orgasm, or you did ejaculate. What was that like? What you recognized as what turns you on. I mean, we pick these things up, and when you really ask yourself the questions, all these sexual questions as you're doing your timeline, you will see a lot of answers, and then you can step back, you can look at it, and you can see how creative it is, how creative we are as human beings, how our senses, our bodies are amazing, how we're constantly curious about our bodies. We started that from the first time we took our breath, and hopefully we get to keep that curiosity till we take our last breath. So a sexual timeline with all of these important steps that you decide what was important and you will remember, but make sure you really be honest and take your time and go back and put them down, and put it down as if nobody gets to read this. Be honest about it, and then read it with compassion, read it with interest, read it with excitement, read it with curiosity about you, about your sexual journey, what it has been like, what the habitual things have been like, what the fantasies were like. Put it all down when your first fantasy popped up. And is it still there 10 days later? And then again, read it with compassion and recognize yourself in all of this. Make sure that you know, wow, this is my sexual self. This is who I have been. And now I have questions about this. I have opinions about that. And you will recognize where you want to go with it and how you want to feel about sex now. You may be completely happy where you're at, and that would be wonderful. You may be finding something in there that you want to, figure out and investigate and maybe get some help from yours truly. Then I will be here for you. You can reach out. You don't have to do this journey alone, but it is a wonderful, very rewarding journey to do, because our sexuality changes and you get to connect with who you are today. And this will help you create that picture of who you are today. So contact me if you need any help, and I'm looking forward to hear from you. You take care.